Hello, welcome on in. This is the Cozy Sky Knits podcast. I'm Elizabeth. I'm coming to you today from Georgetown, Texas. Today is Tuesday, May 13th. Boy, this month is flying already. I live in Georgetown with my mother Nancy and my two senior cockapoos, Sullivan and Griffin. And this is primarily a knitting podcast. I do touch on some other crafts here and there, such as needle felting. I do a little bit of quilting, so I may show that. And also I have a circular sock machine. So if that sounds like it might be something you're interested in, please sit down, grab a cozy drink, and let's get started. So let's go with what I'm wearing. Today, the heat is kicking in here in South Central Texas, and I am wearing my Misurina from Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knitworks. And I knit this, I think the pattern came out, it was a while ago, maybe in 2020, and I knit this in 2023. So I knit it using Malabrigo yarn, and the base was called Susuro, which is a sport weight yarn that has 325 yards per 100 grams. And it is a really nice yarn. It's 50% silk, 25% linen, and 25% merino. So it has a really nice drape. And it's fairly cool for Texas, hot Texas weather. So good summer yarn. I knit it in, the main color is this color 93, fuchsia. And then the accent color is a really pretty soft gray that kind of, it almost has an iridescent look to it, but it's called Purl. And I think that was number 36 Purl. So this is a very nice pattern. It's a lot of fun to knit. It's knit top down, and you start with the neckline, and there's a little bit of ribbing. And then if you can see here, this lace panel, and then you proceed down to some cabling here in between the repeats of the color work. So you're doing a lot of different things. It really keeps your interest throughout. The only, not difficult, but probably the hardest part about it was that there were some long floats in here, so you did have to catch those. But once you get the hang of it, it wasn't too bad. I really enjoyed knitting this. I'd like to knit another one, actually, because I do wear this a lot. I knit it in short sleeves. There are options in the pattern to continue with some texture, purl texture on the body, but I omitted that because my yarn has quite a bit of texture in it because of the linen content, and you can see the little fibers and stuff. So I just didn't think I would gain a lot by doing that purl texture, so I omitted that. And like I said, I wear this a lot. I wear it with skirts or slacks, jeans, white jeans, shorts, you name it. I get a lot of wear out of it. So that's what I'm wearing. And my friend over here, Sasha, the mannequin, is wearing two things that I knit. The first one is a beautiful shawl called the I can never say this, sorry. Skaersommernat by Pia Trans. She's Danish, so it's a Danish name, and I have a hard time pronouncing it. I apologize for that. But it's a really nice, lightweight shawl, and I'll pull it off here, show you a little bit more up close. It's beautiful. It was knit with a fingering weight yarn and a mohair, and you're alternating between them. And you can see there's some beautiful lace and then some striping. And I used, for the mohair, I used Rowan Kid Silk Haze in the natural, which is really pretty much just an undyed. And it's a lace weight, 225 yards per 25 grams. And I really like the Rowan Kid Silk Haze for a mohair. It's really nice to work with. And then I also use for my, fingering, which is this very light speckled, just real soft and subtle, from the Yarnies of Texas, which is a dyer out of Abilene, I think Abilene, Texas, but I'm not sure if they're still dyeing or not. It was out of my stash. I had had it for a while, and it was a light fingering weight, and the colorway was Spike Specs. So, and as you can see, it's just a real pretty airy shawl. It's an asymmetrical triangle shape. Let's see, here we go. And I like these really lightweight shawls. When I travel, I really like them because, you know, if I'm going through an airport or whatever, it doesn't weigh me down, but it just provides a little bit of warmth. And believe it or not, I wear these a lot in Texas in the summer in the air conditioning. So it's always nice to have one of these to throw over your shoulders when you're sitting in a restaurant and the vents are blowing down on you. We have a tendency here in Texas to use a lot of air conditioning when it's really hot. So today it's really hot. It got up to, I think, 102. So we went from really cool spring to suddenly we had a really big heat wave today. So anyway, so that was what Sasha was wearing. And then she's also wearing something else that I knit a while ago. This is the Love Note, which I'm sure most of you have probably heard about. This is from Tin Can Knits, and it's a beautiful top-down construction sweater done on a loose gauge. I knit this using a combination of Shibui Knits birch base in the colorway Bone, which was a sport weight yarn, which had 325 yards per 50 grams. And then I held that with, Suburban Stitcher, another local Texas dyer, mohair lace in the colorway Predictability, which gives it the bone color base yarn. It kind of shadows it with this kind of mauvey, rosy, purpley, speckled, very lightly speckled yarn. And it made a really pretty fabric. So, yeah, and this, I think I knit this back in 2020, maybe January of 2020, and I wear it a lot. I'll put a light t-shirt under it. I knit 3/4 sleeves because that's a good weight for me here. I can put a long sleeve blouse or t-shirt under it if I want the sleeves longer. If I just want a tank or a t-shirt under it, I can do that. And I wear this a lot, so I've knit a couple of the Love Note. Highly recommend that pattern, and I know it's very, very popular. So that's what we're wearing. Okay, let's get into some finished objects today. I only have one, and then I have a hoe. So anyway, the first finished object I have is my Wilfreda, which I talked about. Actually, I had just started it on the last podcast. But here it is in all its glory. And this is a beautiful sweater by Wenche Roald. And I knit this in these two yarns here. Knitting for all of silk mohair in the colorway Lavender Blue, I think it's called. Yeah, Lavender Blue. And then this base, Araucania Hausco. Don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize. And this is the colorway, it's the tonals, and it's colorway 130. So it's this beautiful, slightly tonal variation of blues. And then, like I said, the lavender blue, and together they made this beautiful fabric. And I know I talked about this quite a bit in my other episodes, but this was knit on a US 9 and a US 7. So a 9 for the body and a US 7 for the ribbing, except that I made one modification and I actually do the neck with a US 6. And that's just because I wanted it to stay closer. I didn't want it to stretch out on me. And I get a perfect fit with that. So I was really happy I got this finished before my trip to Chicago. So I was able to wear it to Chicago. And it was kind of funny because I work with mostly men. And we were out to dinner and someone was asking me what my hobbies were. And I was trying to explain the whole knitting thing to them. And I said, oh, well, I knit my, they're like, well, what do you make? And so I said, oh, I knit my sweater. And they're like, how did you do that? And I said, magic. I said, that's my secret power, my superpower. So they thought that was pretty funny. But actually, I found out that my boss's wife teaches knitting to students in school. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. So that's my finished object. And then I mentioned I have a hoe. And that would be my Berries and Bird Tracks by Yucca in the 52 Weeks of Socks, Volume 2. And this is where it was last podcast. So they're knit toe up, which is not my preference, but I persevered. And so toe up, that's where I was last time. This cute little Winnie the Pooh stitch marker. And then I finished them. I ended up doing 8 repeats of the main lace panel. And you can see they have a beautiful side cable texture pattern and a German short row heel with the slip stitch heel. So it has the gusset German short row heel and then the slip stitch heel flap. That's what I meant, sorry. But I would say I don't love the process of knitting this sock. It's not terrible, but it's just that if I put it down, I find it hard to get back into. But once I sit down and I do it, then I can just, you know, keep going. But it's just a really beautiful sock. So this is definitely more of a product knit for me, if you can see the full front. And I just think these are going to be so pretty in the fall. So I am going to force myself to knit the second sock, at least get it cast on, and maybe do one full repeat of the main lace pattern every other day. That's kind of my goal. It's like an 18 row repeat, I think. So I don't think that's too bad, but my hands, because I use the Giago 9-inch circulars. I use the interchangeables. So I use a 2-inch tip on my right hand and the 3-inch tip on my left hand, but it's still tiny. And because it's such an intricate, you're doing a lot of some yarn overs and slip stitching and what have you. Anyway, the lace pattern, I find that my hands, I tend to tense up quite a bit. So I have to keep reminding myself to stretch and to let go a bit. Otherwise my hands get cramped up. So, yeah, but anyway, I really like the sock, and so I'm glad that I'm pushing through, and I can't wait to have these in my wardrobe. So those are my finished objects, and I guess we'll slide that hoe in there too. Okay, let's see what's on my needles now. I have been working on my rose cardigan, which is by Andrea Mowry of Drea, Renee Knits, and I'm knitting it in the yarn that Andrea Mowry actually designed the pattern in. So I don't typically do that. I usually like to kind of venture on my own, but I really loved that sweater when I saw it, and I tried it on actually when she was at a knitting retreat that I went to, and I just fell in love with it, and it was just always on my mind for a few years. And I thought it looked really complicated, but actually it's not that bad. It's just a lot to keep track of, and it's a lot of knitting because it's sport weight, and it's done on a US 4 needle, and which is a 3.5 millimeter. But anyway, I'm knitting it in La Bien Aimée Merino Sport in the colors Damask, Winter Garden, Rose Quartz, and Dusk. So I've made some progress, some significant progress. I think last time I showed it, I had the first quadrant done, and then I had started a second quadrant, and I was about here on the second quadrant, and I ended up finishing the second quadrant. So I knit all of this, and you're knitting from the cuff up. So, yeah, so I knit that, and then I cast on the third quadrant, and ta-da! So now I have 3 pieces. So I'm really excited, and I'm so tempted to stop now and sew 2 pieces together. But I'm really trying to resist because I really should push through and get all 4 pieces done and then proceed with the pattern. So trying to be good, but I don't know. It's like I have a little devil on one shoulder and angel on the other. One's telling me to be good and the other one's saying, just do what you want. So I don't know. We'll see. I think I will just go ahead and cast on the 4th quarter and try to get that done over the next week or 2, and then proceed from there. But I'm pretty excited because it's going a lot faster than I thought it would. So I guess once you put your mind to something and get into it, it's like I said, it's really not that hard. It's just a lot to keep track of, but she does provide a spreadsheet, which I think I mentioned in one of my previous episodes, a spreadsheet to help keep track of everything. And I highly recommend downloading that spreadsheet if you do knit this, because it just really explains and helps you to keep track of everything and leaves very little room for error because of that. So yes, so that's what's on my needles. Oh, I do have one other project. my wide rib wrap from Purl Soho that I'm knitting in good wool in the color Barn Red, no, Barn Door, sorry, Barn Door, and Purl Soho Tussock, which is the silk mohair in the colorway Pink Pop. And I have these in my yarn cozies from my shop to protect them. And I'm so glad that I have those because I'm always dropping this project. But I haven't worked on this too much because I've been working on that rose cardigan and then my socks and my Wilfreda. So, but it is getting very, very long. I can't even hold it up. So I'm almost done with the third skein of the mohair. So not too much more to go on that. I think I mentioned last time that it calls for 4 skeins of the mohair and 4 skeins, which you won't use the full 4 of the good wool because it's got more yardage than the tussock does. But I definitely don't think I'm going to be using 4 skeins. I think I'm going to go probably 3 1/4 skeins or somewhere in there, just judging by how long it's getting right now. Because I just don't want it too long, but I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, I'm trying to get back to it. I had been knitting a little bit every day, and I don't know, I just got sidetracked with my other projects, and I kind of missed a few days once you get out of that habit. And then I had to travel for work. I went to Chicago for all last week, so I didn't really take any knitting with me because I didn't have any free time other than on the plane, and I decided to read a book instead. So I did that because I haven't been reading enough, and in fact, I don't think I read a single book last year in 2024. That's terrible. Yeah, I don't think I read a single book other than knitting stuff. So anyway, I'm trying to force myself to read this year, but it's like read or knit. Sometimes I can read and knit if I have a easy stockinette project, but I didn't have anything really like that. So anyway, I read a book on the plane and in the airport because I got delayed. We took off on, I came back on Friday, and I had a morning flight, and we got on the plane, and then we had to deplane because there were mechanical problems, and they had to take the plane out of service. So glad they found it before we took off. So for that, I'm grateful, but it caused a delay, and I didn't get home until later. So, and that's why this podcast is a little bit late. I was actually exhausted by the time the weekend came around. So anyway, so that is what's on my needles. So let's talk about what's been occupying my mind in my spare time. I received some yarn that I purchased from McKinney Knittery, and this is from the Fiber Co. in the amble base in this beautiful golden color called Daffodil. And I don't know, I'm just in this yellow kick for some reason, and I saw this and it was actually on sale, so I got 2 skeins of it, and I plan to make some socks. And I had purchased this pattern from Summer Lee Design Co. called Hibernal socks. I'll show a picture of it here. And they're just like a mock cable and rib, really pretty textury sock. And so I think this would be a good choice yarn for that. So I'm looking forward to getting those cast on, but balancing that with my other sock. So the berries and bird tracks sock that I showed, and I really want to cast this on just so I have this somewhat mindless project, but we'll see. I think I'll force myself to cast the other one on and then maybe every other day work on these. Sounds like a plan. What do you think? Does that sound good to you? Can you give me permission, please? Ease my conscience. It would help. So that, and then I am so excited for the new pattern that Pip Pin just released this week called Flower Child, which is a beautiful fingering weight top-down circular yoke. It's like a lace yoke, and I'll put a picture here for you to see it somewhere. I'm not sure what side it ends up on, but it's just a beautiful pattern. It's knit in fingering weight, 26 stitch gauge, and 32 rows per 4 inches. So, and I think it's knit on a US 4. Let's see, a US 4, and it takes anywhere from 620 to 2,000 yards depending on the size that you knit. It does come in a pretty good variety of sizes, from a 32-inch bust to a 68-inch bust. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think I'll be able to knit it probably with 2 skeins of fingering weight, which I have a lot of 2 skein combos in my stash, so I'll be able to use some of my stash for that. And it's just really beautiful lace in the yoke, which I think looks like it'll really be fun to knit. And then once you work through that, then it'll just be stockinette on the body. So it's my kind of pattern. Oh, I did want to mention too, I don't know if I talked about this, but going back to the Wilfreda, sorry, I'm a little disjointed, but I've been traveling and I'm about to travel again tomorrow. I have to go to Dallas for a couple days. But anyway, on the Wilfreda pattern, you do short rows on the back neck here before the lace to raise up the neck, which I love. So you can see how it sits when it's just in its normal state. And then you also do short rows at the back on the bottom, which lowers it just slightly. I would say maybe, I don't know, a little less than an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, so that when you wear it in the back, it kind of evens out and drops down just like over your pants a bit. And I just love that when I wear a sweater, so I'm not worried about my back showing when I bend over and stuff like that. And yeah, so I just wanted to mention that too. Anyway, and I think the Pip Pin pattern might do that as well. If not, I'm sure it'd be easy to add some short rows into the bottom of it. So, but I know that they really write nice patterns, so I'm so anxious to get that cast on. I just have not enough time to knit. I have so many things I want to do, but anyway. This is probably going to be a shorter episode. Like I said, I've been traveling a bit for work. I was in Chicago for a week. Someone actually asked me if I was going to go to Wool & Company, and I got so close to going. I didn't have a car. We usually just Uber from the airport to our office. Our office is in Hoffman Estates, and we usually just stay at the hotel right literally across the parking lot from the office. So we usually just Uber to the hotel, and then you're just kind of there until we leave, and just kind of Uber for dinner or order in, whatever. But anyway, I did have a couple hours, and one of my colleagues, bless his heart, he offered to take me, but he had to be back by like 2 o'clock or something on Thursday, and we were going to go at lunchtime, and I just thought I would be too rushed, and he said he didn't mind, but it was so sweet of him to offer, but I decided I didn't need to go. So next time I go, though, I'm going to figure out how to fit that in for sure. So, because I know I've been there one time, and it's a fabulous store. It's so huge and just everything. But I knew that if you just give me 45 minutes or so, I'm not going to have enough time in there to really enjoy it. So I didn't want to be rushed and have the pressure of him sitting in the car waiting for me. So anyway, and then tomorrow I leave. I go to Dallas for a couple days, and I'll be back Friday afternoon. So yeah, so I'm a little bit tired, and other than that, not too much going on. Had a nice Mother's Day with my mom. We actually just relaxed and sat out on the patio, and we ordered in some Olive Garden food. I went and picked it up. We had that for dinner, so we didn't have to cook or anything. We made she made a really yummy breakfast too. We made some eggs with some Gruyere cheese and chives and stuff from our herb garden. So that was really nice, and some fresh strawberries, and yeah, so that was very nice. But I feel bad because while I was in Chicago, she had a lot of pain in her tooth, and she had it just before I left, and she called the dentist on Monday when I left, and they got her in right away. But she had to have a tooth pulled, and she had infection that was all down into the bone, and the infection had gone up into her sinuses. So she had a pretty serious infection, and she had to have that pulled while I was gone. So I felt really bad for her, but she's doing okay now. She's been on antibiotics, which are upsetting her system, her stomach, and what have you. But I think she's at the tail end of it now, and the sinus infection portion seems to be clearing up too. So that's good, because she was not feeling good for a while. When I came back, she had a fever, so not good. And of course, when I talked to her about it, she's like, I'm fine, it's on its way out. And so she's very obstinate when it comes to stuff like that. But anyway, I guess that's all. Thank you so much for joining me today, and hopefully you found a little bit of inspiration in this somewhat short and rushed episode, but I wanted to get one in because I'm trying to do every 2 weeks. This one I know is going to be a little bit past the 2-week mark, but we'll get on a regular schedule. Try to keep it that way. I was trying to do like Saturday, Sunday, Monday postings of the videos, but sometimes it takes a full day for the videos to upload. So I'm actually thinking I'll probably record on a weekend and then try to get it up like by the following Friday. So like I'll have a few days during the week to edit, and then load the video maybe for release on Friday morning. So yeah, so hopefully that works out for people. And anyway, I appreciate you spending this time with me. Hopefully you're knitting some really exciting things, or crocheting. If you're crocheting, that's a talent I don't quite yet have. So I hope to develop that soon, but I don't know. I keep seeing crochet things and I'm like, I just need to do it, but we'll see. I just don't have time. But anyway, I hope you're all having, like I said, some good stuff on your needles. You're enjoying your time with your making, and it's bringing you some comfort. And I hope you're enjoying some nice weather wherever you are. I know we've had a lot of storms everywhere through the country, so hopefully everyone's safe. And if you're in another country, you know, hopefully you're not afflicted by the storms and stuff that we've been getting. So, and if you did like this, I would really appreciate if you could give me a thumbs up. It's helping me to grow my channel. I think I'm almost at 1,200 subscribers, which is pretty exciting. I think I need like one more and I'll be at 1,200. So that's pretty exciting to me. And I do truly appreciate every one of you and all the comments. I just love reading them and interacting. And it's so much fun to me when someone says, oh, I knit that, or I did this, or I went there. And I don't know, it just makes me feel really connected and like we're a community, which is really kind of why I want to start this, right? So I'm not just out here by myself, you know. So anyway, until next time, I hope that you find joy in your making and you're living with compassion and kindness and taking care of yourself and staying in good health and enjoying the summer as it's coming up. All right, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.